is they were shipping the immigrants. They were shipping the immigrants through these jail-like buses, and they were putting them in these facilities and pretty much leaving them as sitting ducks. They had curfews, the same thing we seeing right now, where they have these curfews. They're unable to work and so forth, and they're pretty much sitting ducks. They're being basically brung over here where you're having the Republicans clashing with the immigrants. That's who was conducting the purge in the movie. It was like the good old boys going against the immigrants. When you look at the last Purge movie that came out.
So the name, to refer to the movie that he's talking about, he said that it was The Final Purge. It was a recent movie that was released. I don't know if anybody is aware, but these movies that we're watching now is nothing but predictive programming. So that means that they are making us aware of what's coming down the pike through entertainment, right? It's all good. So he's speaking on predictive programming, and he makes references. He keeps up on a lot of the movies and the entertainment because there's always similarities and correlations between that and between what is really happening in real time and or the preface of it, and we see signs of it, and then as time goes on, guess what? That it actually comes to fruition.
It was all those who got brought over here as immigrants, man. I'm telling you, these movies are not just movies anymore. They telling you what they on, man.
Senior U.S. Customs and Border Protection official says that won't happen. Writing in a statement to Fox, bottom line, Border Patrol has no plans to remove infrastructure, sea wire placed by Texas along the border. Our posture remains the same. If we need to access an area for emergency response, we will do so. While that plays out in the courts in Washington, there's no deal in sight on border security.
House Republicans, they have a choice to make, right? They have to choose whether they want to solve a problem, actually solve a problem like the Senate is trying to do in a bipartisan way, or get in the way and score political points.
House Speaker Mike Johnson updating his...
Okay, that Karine Jean-Pierre, whatever her name is, so she didn't respond. She did not answer the questions. She sidestepped most of them by saying that she wasn't going to speak on that because she didn't feel like she was in position to do so, right?
Colleagues on the Senate's draft bipartisan border policy, writing in a letter, quoting here, if rumors about the contents of the draft proposal are true, it would have been dead on arrival in the House anyway.
I think they should try to get something done. That's my personal opinion. But regardless of whether they do or not, there's actions that the president can take right now to help the governor instead of working against him.
This year, the rate of
that part, but we just want to get through this this reaction to this particular video because he's got some great pushback and talking points based on the information that the media is providing us, right? Yes, T. Smith, decades. I would even venture to say it's longer than 30 years. That's why everything flows the way it does a lot of the times in their favor. However, us being in these last days and prophetic days, there's a God that sits high. So listen, prayer.
Illegal entry.
And see, look, I need y'all to understand, man, this is all scripted. Everything that's going on in the states has been already written out, drawn out. Listen, all the governors, they know what's up. I know we want to believe that they're just imploding naturally. They're telling you by putting a movie out right around the same time called Civil War. It's predictive programming. It's lesser magic. They have to tell you what they're going to do before they do it.
That's biblical. Do it, or it will not be effective.
These people are playing the public. The world is but a stage. Shakespeare said it best. It's a show. And it all has an agenda. And that's what we need to understand. When we're looking at this news, we have to really facilitate everything through the parameters of the Bible, through the text, so we can know what they're attempting to do, right?
Into the U.S. is on pace to reach some 3 million.
It's about to be 3 million more people in the United States where inflation is through the roof, people struggling to make ends meet, and all hell is pretty much breaking loose. Crime is on the rise in the land. But
And that was a caveat to what I was saying earlier about all these stores closing. Now let's just think freely for a second and outside of the spectrum of what we're talking about. Let's, like Bolo says, logically, let's think from a place of logic. Now you got the big corporations out here that's making all this money. Do you think that they're going to succumb and agree with this if there wasn't a plan for them to benefit when it was all said and done? I don't think so. You got the pharmaceutical companies, you got these big corporations. Like during the pandemic, I saw so many small businesses go out of business, which, what do you think happened? That business had to go somewhere, right? And so they are closing these stores, but you're not hearing a lot of pushback from these big corporations that on the surface seem to be losing money. They seem to be losing access. It's really not that. And we'll discuss it once I drop the link.
We're about to bring an additional 3 million more people over here who have no way of making means for themselves. Like literally, they're concocting the perfect storm. It's the perfect recipe for riots. It's the perfect recipe for civil unrest. It's the perfect recipe for crime. Yo, when the scriptures tell us that Babylon the Great is fallen, it's fallen. It has become the habitation of every foul bird and every foul spirit. Them scriptures ain't lying, man. It's fallen, it's fallen. It's become the dwelling place of all kind of demons. It's a prison for every foul spirit, a cage for every unclean bird. And every nation have been drunk from the wine of her fornication. The kings of the earth committed fornication with her. The merchants of the earth have become rich through her abundance and luxury. But guess what? She's having a hard, that girl, she having a hard fall, boy. She can't walk in them hills no more. She's sliding down the hill quick.
Quick, fast, and in a hurry. Hello. Come on now. Look at the deterioration of our country and how fast this is occurring. Look how fast this shit is coming to pass. You can't get your ground and your footing up under you before we have a whole nother situation collectively as a nation that we have to deal with. This just isn't at our front doors anymore. This involves everybody. And I don't know how many people recognize that. Thank you for joining us. So this is absolutely, in my opinion, planned out, intentional, and they are moving in desperation. All of the veils have come off. For years, we have been left in the dark because they have moved behind closed doors, but their time is short. It's super short. And now they don't have time to do that anymore because now they know that it's coming to a close and there has to be a shift in power. That's biblical.
I mean, she falling off. America's hitting the wall. You hear me? It's hitting the wall. I know the red pillars always talking about the wall. Man, America's hitting that wall. I'm telling you. This is why you got to get your mind right, liquidate your assets, get around like-minded people. Get the hell away from jealous, envious, sick, vile people who just don't want nothing better for themselves, man.
Speak it, Nubreed.
Who ain't like-minded, because when things hit the fan, people gonna show their true colors, man.
Yes.
You're gonna see the devil and demons come out of people.
Yes.
Hey, listen, what's coming here? You ain't seen nothing yet.
That's that. Sometimes it's just a mic drop. It is what it is. They were performing, the governments were going to the major farmers and they were giving them ultimatums. We've even seen that here with chicken factories, industrial plants being blown up, set afire, all these mysterious ways that they're being demolished. We're not getting any news outside of the fact that it's been demolished because guess what? Social media, it can be for their good or for their detriment. And so a lot of that news that we get that's authentic now, even though we still have to sift through that, is coming through social media. So the mainstream media has to always try to get ahead of the curve in order to sway the narrative to make us think that things are just happening by happenstance. And so overseas, if the farmers did not acquiesce and sell them their land, the powers that be, they burned their land. They burned it. Look at Hawaii. Hawaii ain't no different. You look at all of the celebrities over there that have land, that have prime real estate. Now, none of their acres got burned, but around them and the land that people refused to give them or to give the government was incinerated. It was totally incinerated. And so there are just way too many instances and circumstances where they want the control. If we farm and if we create our own crops and food sources, then we don't need them. They've taken control of all of the necessary resources, the water, the air, we got to pay for air. Come on now. When you go to a gas station and you have a low tire pressure in your tires, in most places that's not free, right? Just using that as an example. And for that, I thank you. So let's keep going.
And they're gonna say, "Oh, this is that doom and gloom, Nubreed. You giving them doom and gloom." No, I'm telling you the unequivocal, emphatic truth. What's coming to this land? And y'all think y'all think that this Civil War, America literally splitting in two. Y'all think that's something? We'll wait till the EMPs start, because that's if you watch Leave the World Behind, that's what they got coming for you next. When the smart devices and appliances shut down, where you need to learn how to read a map again. Where the vehicles moving forward all got kill switches.
Okay, so let's touch on that for a second. I went looking for a map. Now, if anybody can give me a source where they can find a paper map, because that's what I was raised on. We used to have that thing would fold out to where it would cover the whole front end of the car, the whole front seat, the driver and the passenger seat of the car. And you had to learn how to navigate using that map. I used to drive back and forth in the South to different states using that paper map. And now all of a sudden, like even at AAA, I remember I used to go to the AAA offices and they would have them for free on the stands. They don't have them anymore. So if they shut everything down electronically, most of us are going to be lost like hell. They're not going to have to shut the cars down because ain't nobody going to know where the hell they going. Right? So he's making some extremely great points here. And the fact of the matter is that's a rough question for us to have to ask one another. Like for me, now I've been spending a majority of my time, whether it's business, whether it's YouTube, whether it's paying bills, whether it's ordering things online, I'm always on the damn computer. So, but now I have lived enough life to where if they shut it down, I think I'm going to be okay because of how I was raised, right? A solid community can work together. That's what it's going to take. And we're going to get to that. We are definitely going to get to that because that's the only way we're going to be able to circumvent or to get through this thing and still keep our footing and our grounding. That and a believing in a power that's higher than ourselves.
And if there's a government lockdown, martial law, you ain't going nowhere. Grocery stores shut down and everything. Oh, we think the shutdowns ended. We thought they ended with the pandemic. Nah, there are more shutdowns coming, and then they're literally playing this stuff out. And then here's something else that I'm gonna tell y'all that's coming, because when it comes to Texas seceding and pretty much divorcing America and bringing 25 other states with them, because that's what's happening. Because this is deeper than just border control.
Yes.
What you see is these 25 steps individually acting in self-defense. Who are they going to be acting in self-defense next? Right now, we're just saying we're defending ourselves against immigrants. Who you think is next? It's like, okay, y'all want to go rogue? Let's see who got the biggest military power.
Okay, to add caveat to what he's saying, just a couple years or a few years, I would say about 3 years ago, Texas had that flood. Does anybody remember, outside of the people that live there? Do we remember when that happened? Texas, that's not what they're known for. That is usually a pretty dry climate. It's not, it doesn't have that kind of weather typically like Florida. But yet that's why the infrastructure was so affected when the pipes froze and they bust inside of the homes and stuff, right? So you can tell that the infrastructure was not conducive to that type of weather coming through, right? Exactly. Yes, Garrick. So with that being said, now there is an actual law and act in place for weather manipulation. So that's all I'm going to say about that. When he's talking about going rogue and actually governors working in or government state leaders working in isolation of the government, what do you think is going to happen? There you go. That's what's up. I'm not going to say it, but I'm going to show it.
The ones being back, because here's this is what we got to understand. We are the government, technically.
Facts.
I said, we are the government.
Facts.
Now, what do you mean by we are the government? I mean, we the people are the government. We the people are the government. But you have two different worlds you live in there right now. You have two different governments operating. You got those who are operating on the left, you know, all of the weirdos, those who want to live unlawful, all of those who don't want to be conservative in nature, meaning they don't want to follow the truth. You got those who want to be reprobated, evil and wicked, and teach others to be wicked and evil. And they want to be sexually immoral and everything else under the sun. And then you have another government within that government that wants to, you know, do a lot of replacement theology. They want to silence who the true people are, just like both sides want to do this. But this other side is a little bit more conservative. They don't want to see their country fall to whoredom and depression. So this is the narrative that's being painted. But let me tell you else what's next. Look out, because I done talked about Texas. What's next, Breed? All right, information wars. That's what's next. That's at the World Economic Forum. And I'm not saying this because I'm prophesying to you.
We're already there, in my opinion, with social media and mainstream media. And then you got the chitter chatter amongst the citizens. We're in the information age. So it makes sense to orchestrate for us to be, again, that word, infighting.
I'm saying this because I watch what's going on. I'm literally peeping what's going on. My eyes are wide open. At the World Economic Forum, they were talking about one of the biggest threats is misinformation and disinformation. So more censorship. You think we've seen censorship in the past? No, we're going to be seeing censorship on a level of communist China. And they've already gotten.
This is real, and these are things to come. And I think we've gotten a little bit of a reprieve since, you know, of course, from 2000 to 2003. But I think if not before the election, after the election, in my opinion, we need to brace ourselves. No matter who wins, no matter who